What's going on, everybody? Got the new issue of Behind the Zines, number 15. I'm very excited. The first thing I want to explain is that there is only one issue. It's number 15, but I have two different covers because I met this cool woman named Jada J when I was at Houston Zine Fest, or excuse me, Zine Fest Houston. When I was at Zine Fest Houston, I met Jada J, and she's super talented, and she sent me all these sketches and I couldn't decide which one I liked, so I picked two of them and she did two different covers. So we have this one and we have this one. They're the same zine, just two different covers. I thought I'd go through this a little bit, and now that I have the whole thing printed, I know I put up the pre-order last week, so some people already ordered it and it's already on its way to you as of tomorrow. It'll be in the mail. But I thought I'd go through a little bit. The first thing that I had to do, which was kind of the reason it's 2 weeks late, because usually I like to put it out the first week of March. I found out that someone in the zine community named Jen Angel passed away recently. And I was getting ready to put this out, and then I decided to change my intro. So the opening intro is a little bit about Jen Angel, who was part of the zine community and passed away. Coincidentally, Todd Taylor had written a piece about RIPs. Todd Taylor works for Razor Cake Magazine, runs Razor Cake Magazine, and the beginning of every Razor Cake has a memorial similar to what we have in this issue. And so he had already written this piece back in like November or December, and it just so happens that it fits really well with this issue. So it's kind of a cool piece. Up next is an article about Fact Sheet 5. For those of you who don't know, Fact Sheet 5 was an old review zine from the 90s that was basically before the internet. That's how you found out about zines. So there's a guy named Jason who is doing a research project on Fact Sheet 5. So this is a cool article all about that. Let's go through page by page, give you the in-depth. Zinesters and filmmaking. My buddy Scotty Yellowtags, who lives here in Albuquerque, is a zine maker and a filmmaker. And here's a bunch of reasons why you should also be a zine maker and filmmaker. Next, the road to rewrites. So this is somebody becoming a closer and closer friend. My buddy Chris, who lives in Spain. He wrote a zine called The Road to Morocco, and this is an excellent zine, but he mentions that he had written about he took a trip from Spain down to Morocco and wrote a story about it, and then several years later rewrote it as this zine. And so I asked him to write an article about what that was like, the process of writing a zine and then basically rewriting the zine, which is something you do in novel writing a lot, but you don't really see people in zine making do it. Welcome to the Club by Jordan C. She lives out in California and started a zine club all of her own, and talks about how to do that and some tips on how to do that and why you should do that. And basically any community you live in, big city or a small town, you can put up a flyer at the library and start your own zine club. Zine Club Chicago is very well known and very big, but no matter where you live, you could start a zine club. Center page, centerfold, pseudonyms. Everybody talking about why they write under the name that they write under, because a lot of us use fake names, and sometimes it's for fun, or it's, we take on the last name of the zine that we write, or for safety reasons, we don't want people to know our last name. So here's a bunch of different people's stories about their last name, including mine right there. I have a couple different names, as you know. One whole story from John Dishwater about how John Dishwater, how he got his name, the philosophy of John Dishwasher. Neck Monster, that's my friend Cheyenne, talking about the name of her zine and how she got the name Neck Monster, which is her name now. So she had the zine Neck Monster, and then she took on the name of her zine, Cheyenne Neck Monster. Mark writes, Mark does a zine called Waltzing Carpet Juliet, and writes about how luxury carpets make him mad. This is an interview I did through the mail of someone I know who's a prison pen pal and writes zines from prison. So if you're thinking like, oh, zines are hard, I can't do a zine. This guy is in prison and writes a zine. So I asked him a few questions and he wrote a letter back to me. So I printed his letter with the answers to the questions. So if you want to know what it's like to make a zine from prison, that'll give you some idea. Stacy, who does the zine Phases of the Moon and also the zine Moonshot, wrote about why we catalog. Not in a big library sense, although lots of you have various libraries, but like more of like, this is my library of my personal zines. That's the Billy McCall zine library. So even it doesn't have to be the Denver zine library or giant library, but just at home, keeping track of your zines and, you know, keeping them all nice and organized. Stacy talks about her process of cataloging her personal zines. I did 5 questions with Heather Kennedy. Heather Kennedy lives up in the Pacific Northwest and does a bunch of different zines, including this one called Nix and Nax, which is kind of a year in review zine that she does. And I really like her zine, so I interviewed her about it. Heather also likes Bigfoot. So I had my partner, Alicia, aka AJ, draw a picture of Bigfoot reading a zine, which I really like. Next story is by Mita, who lives here in New Mexico and is a friend. That's a picture of me and Mita. We went to the Santa Fe Zine Fest together, and she wrote about what it was like to go to a Zine Fest. And then I wrote a story about Zine Fest Houston, about what it was like for me to go to a Zine Fest and table. And then there's the rest of that story. And then here's the last page of all the important information. And then the back cover by Ricky Vigil, aka Ricky Vigil from Salt Lake City, did a seek and find with various items hidden within the story or within the picture within the illustration. Sorry, I'm kind of tired. It's kind of late. It's past my bedtime, but I just got these in today and I'm packing up orders and I wanted to show them off and tell you guys all about these. So Behind the Zines 15 now available. If you want a copy, hit me up. It will soon be available for free download if you just want to read a digital file. Thank you much. Long live zines. Talk to you guys later.